Facebook sætter scenen for marketing på global plan. Vi har mødt Andrew Weld-Moore, manager Global Marketing Solutions fra Facebook, til en snak om marketing på Facebook og om det nye timeline design. So Andrew, how do you overall see Facebook as a marketing platform?
Facebook is about people. And what's happening online is that we're moving from the information web to the social web. We're beginning to see, physical world experiences being mirrored online. And when we look at Facebook, we talk about authentic communication. And Facebook gives brands the opportunities to engage in a two-way conversation with their audience. We look at a framework which we call Connect, Engage, and we start by basically, putting together a Facebook page, and that's a core of a Facebook strategy. Essentially, is your Facebook page.
Can you share an example of an application that has been successful on Facebook?
Yeah, there's a recent case study that we published, and it's Nutella, which is obviously a brand in Germany. And they ran an advertising campaign which promoted an application which was for an advent calendar, so a Christmas calendar, whereby they gave away prizes to their audience. And they supported this with a 2-week premium advertising campaign. They also ran a 6-week campaign on television where they had a call to action to drive people to the application as well. And the results were absolutely fantastic. We saw a 13% uptake and increase in sales purely derived from the Facebook campaign alone. So that was very, very successful. And there's a number of companies across EMEA enjoying success in the platform. Nelly.com, for example, would be a large Nordic e-commerce retailer that's enjoying very good success on the platform.
How do you think a marketeer should approach making a strategy for Facebook?
So I think, because Facebook is all about people, literally you should start very slowly. We have a framework. It's called Connect, Engage, Influence and Integrate. And it's like developing a relationship offline. You can't jump into the relationship. So for example, we see a lot of companies wanting to develop an application straight away, which is a little bit too much. You have to develop a trusted relationship with your audience. So first of all, you have to look at connecting with the audience. Who is your audience? What is the quality of the audience? i.e., is the audience going to be advocates of your brand? The next step is then engaging with that audience. So that means you have to understand who your audience is. And we have page insights which will allow you to gauge where your audience is coming from, what posts are resonating with that audience. And therefore you can tailor your content on Facebook to ensure it delivers relevance to that audience. And then we look at influence. And we have a number of ads products. So when you post on your Facebook page, on average 16 to 20% of your audience are going to see that post. Our ads product will allow you amplify great content on your page to a wider set of your fans to ensure that your fans see it. And only when you're ready, you should look at developing applications. And what applications do is they give the audience a deeper connection with the page and create custom experiences for your audience. And that's the way you should look at it. But you have to crawl before you walk, and essentially walk before you run and run before you fly. So that's the way to, I think, approach a Facebook strategy.
How does Facebook interact with other marketing platforms?
So Facebook interacts with other marketing platforms the same way as, for example, TV interacts with radio. It's a part of the overall marketing mix. And we would consider Facebook, and when somebody's looking at a Facebook campaign, to bake it into your advertising mix from the very beginning. So I referenced the Nutella campaign earlier on when I was speaking with you. And they ran a TV campaign which essentially drove traffic to their Facebook page. And I think, marketeers that look at Facebook as an overall part of the media mix are seeing success. So for example, if you are running a press ad, if you are running a TV ad, essentially that you're featuring your Facebook, find us on Facebook, or if you're advertising any particular offer, I think it's good to drive traffic to that offer on other mediums.
What do we know about how the users react to and look at marketing on Facebook?
It's all about authentic conversations. So as a Facebook user, I connect to the people that are an important part of my life. As I said, our physical offline experiences are now being mirrored online. We are moving from the information web to the social web. The amount of information online is growing exponentially. And, you know, the human memory and the human brain can only take in so much. So what we're seeing now is we're bringing our friends with us online. And we've always relied on our friends for recommendations of where to go on holiday, of what restaurant to go to, or what movie to see, for example. So that's what's happening on Facebook. So, you know, when I connect to a brand on Facebook, I'm essentially indicating my predisposition to hear from that brand. I'm registering my interest in that brand. And I want to have a two-way communication with that brand as well. And that's how we see Facebook working.
What are the best possibilities that you think marketeers haven't really discovered yet?
I think on Facebook there is a number, from our perspective, I think there's a number of opportunities for marketers on Facebook, but it always depends on what your objectives are. What do you want to get out of Facebook? What are your overall marketing objectives? So, you know, I think there is our premium product, which is great for driving promotions, new products, you know, events. And then there's our marketplace product as well, which is great for driving an always-on strategy on Facebook, for creating, I suppose, a fan base to, for example, grow or to download an e-commerce tab, or to drive a game install, for example. So that's quite a broad question. The way I think I would answer it is, if you look at what your objectives are, first of all, that's very important, and then use the CEI framework that I discussed earlier on. I think that's the way to approach Facebook.
What 3 things should every marketeer do on Facebook right now?
What 3 things they should do? Pages are mission control for Facebook. That's where the hub of your activity is. That gives marketeers the ability to create really close connections with their audiences and engage in what we call authentic communication. The 3 things, and I'm going to add another thing that marketers should do on Facebook, is they should connect, engage, influence, and integrate.
What 3 things do you think they shouldn't do?
I think it depends on the company itself and what your objectives are. I think the one thing on Facebook is that people are their authentic selves. So if I was to name one thing they shouldn't do is, you know, don't be gimmicky. Don't increase your fan base by the use of, you know, get a free iPad to be a fan of our page. You want to have authentic communication with your audience, and also don't repurpose content from other areas. Develop a Facebook voice. So what is your character on Facebook? What is your tone of voice on Facebook? You know, I suppose it's all about bringing it back to what your overall marketing voice is and your advertising voice as well.
Do you at Facebook target the business-to-business market?
On Facebook, we have a huge population. We have 901 million users on the platform, and within that, there are people that work for businesses. So, you know, as a business-to-business offering, there is the ability to contact and to target people who are working with business. And, you know, it's like, you know, I suppose, consumer marketing as well. If you understand who your audience is, and if you adopt the connect, engage, influence, and integrate format that I spoke about earlier on, you know, you will have success in targeting those business customers. Because again, with 900 million users on the platform, you know, you are getting people who work in businesses. And, you know, people in businesses are individuals at the end of the day.
Do you see development towards more APIs and collaboration tools that makes it possible for companies to interact with Facebook?
So our API community is very vibrant, and we see it expanding all the time. You know, it's an important part of our offering, and it's an important part of, you know, allowing customers to scale and grow and develop on Facebook. I think, again, it goes back to depending on what your objectives are. There is a number of APIs that we, I suppose, that we have and that we talk about on our site, and each has a different product offering depending on what your objectives are. So yes, we see it as being a very important part of our ecosystem, and one that's growing.
A lot of companies are looking into Facebook like social media for enterprises. Is this a market that you're looking into?
So we facilitate enterprise in Facebook, and, you know, Facebook is all about, you know, helping users connect to their audiences. So if we can help, you know, brands, if we can help communities engage and interact with one another, you know, that's what we'll continue to do.
What are the main arguments for introducing the timeline design?
So never before have you had an opportunity to put together like a digital scrapbook of all your memories. You know, let me ask you a question. You know, do you have photo albums? and your parents have photo albums. Well, that was the idea essentially behind Timeline, to have this digital online scrapbook, so to speak, that would literally put all your memories as an individual, but also as a brand, on your Facebook page, so you can connect more deeply and you can engage more meaningfully with your audience. And that's really the broad idea behind Timeline.
What new marketing possibilities come with the Timeline design?
It allows a brand to really integrate and to, I suppose, form a deeper connection with their audience. In terms of the cover photo, it's a graphical representation of your brand and what your brand is about. In terms of the pinned post, it means you can put a post to the top of your page. So for example, if one week you had a particular promotion as a business, you can pin that post for a period of 7 days on the top of your page. It also allows you to put larger images on your page as well. And on Facebook, that's something that really, I suppose, we see that drives a lot of connection and a lot of integration. Pictures essentially are a very powerful tool to create connections on Facebook.
How are users responding to the Timeline?
Yeah, users are responding positively to the Timeline. I think they see it as something that is a next development in Facebook. I think overall it has been a positive addition to Facebook and a positive evolution of the product.